my son, Amari Made, the future, as I lead you, I show you with dexterity on the alto saxophone.
Who exactly is Made Kuti?
My identity. Okay. Made Kuti is the great-grandson of J.J. Ransom Kuti, great-grandson of Israel Ransom Kuti, also the great-grandson of Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, grandson of Fela Anikulapo Kuti, and son of Femi Kuti and Funke Kuti.
Interesting. For a lot of celebrities, when they step into the room, they have like one elephant sort of in the room in form of probably their father or one of their parents. But for you, you have like you've rolled out the names. How does this feel? Is there like so much pressure on you coming from this line, this family line?
I get asked that question a lot. And my answer most of the time is, it's not pressure, it is fuel. If you understand the legacy, then you understand what each individual from that legacy stood for. And it's not something to, if you share the passion, then it's not something that makes you worried or scared. It's something that you learn from, that makes you feel, that gives you inspiration. So the legacy inspires me, it doesn't scare me.
Okay, you were thrown into this from a pretty early age. You started learning how to play the instrument and you were exposed to this life from a very, very young age. Looking back now, would you have wished to do certain things differently?
No. I think everything I've experienced has made me who I am today. I quite like who I am today, but I'm more interested in who I become henceforth. I don't look at the past too much. I only learn from it. But even more interesting than my own history is the history of the entire family and beyond that. So I look back to learn. I don't look back to try to change anything.
From the outside, you look like the more reserved kind of person. But you're in this world where there's so much attention, so much focus on practically every of your step. Does it at any point get overwhelming for you?
Fortunately, no. It has never been like that for me. Maybe it's because of the kind of person I am. I don't move into spaces where I cause trouble for myself. So you only see me in, I don't know, very, very rarely do you see me outside. But in a way, you're aware of the attention and it governs your actions to a degree. You know the things that you can't do, the things that if you do, you'll be praised for. If you did, you would be shunned for. So on the other hand, it has its positives as well. It opens doors sometimes. It got me my place for my university. So you can't, I don't want to speak as if the attention or the fame is something to feel burdened by. It has its ups and downs like everything else.
Okay, before we proceed on that lane, tell us a bit about your growing up. How was it like for you growing up in your family?
Well, again, this question I get asked a lot. I grew up in the shrine, and when you grow up in the shrine, you grow up around music. And if you step into the shrine now, behind you have pictures of all these people. You have Malcolm X, you have Martin Luther King, you have Kwame Nkrumah, you have Marcus Garvey, you have Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, you have Lumumba. So the question is always, who are these people? What is this music speaking about? You grow up in that environment, you grow up very conscious of your identity as an African, even more so as a black man. So you ask all the questions that should eventually lead you to becoming an intellectual. So then, why are black people the way they are? Why do people look at the shrine and why do they slander it? Why are there so many false rumors, even though we don't do anything bad? Why is it that the Kuti name either make someone very happy, or someone very scared, or someone very repulsed by it? Why do they associate members of the family with so many negative things? Why do they associate members of the family with so many positive things? So you ask a lot of questions, but it leads you to become a very thoughtful person, I think. You think a lot, and eventually that, I believe, it should lead me to becoming very enlightened, because I know who these people are now. I know who Lumumba is, I know who Kwame Nkrumah is, I know how that will affect the music that I make. I know that will affect the kind of man that I become and the kinds of things that I speak about. So it makes you very conscious.
I don't know if I'm getting the wrong message from what you said now, but do you at times get a feel that you were brought up in a controlled environment, sort of an environment whereas all you knew how to do was music? Your influences were tied to those people on the wall that you see every time you wake up, and you never really had this outlook of things from a wider perspective.
Very wrong, because Shrine was my home, but I had to go to school anyway. I had to go on excursions, so I saw a lot of the outside world, and what I found was what was normal was very contrary to what I experienced as normal. So because you have that that clash between just your friends and your mates, basic conversation, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, basic talks about social issues, you find that growing up in the Shrine leads you to thinking about things slightly different from the normal, and you accept that you are different, and you accept that you think differently, because if you don't, it just drives you crazy. So if I say I don't have to sing any church hymns in the morning, right? Because your school makes you do it. If I argued that fact, I'll be punished. They would beat me. But so I knew it. So what do? I sing. The music was nice, but I find it hard to accept that we believe that to indoctrinate children, the best method is to use it by force. So they made me pray by force as well. And all these things. So we sing the national anthem. Or if at any point I asked, what are we so proud about as Nigerians? You can't ask those questions. You have to, in school you have to fit into that. It's more of what you said about what you thought the Shrine might be. It's a box, and you're controlled in the way you think. Shrine allowed me to challenge those normal thoughts, whereas education forced me to be boxed.
I don't know, growing up, did you have any, maybe in school, did you have any situation where someone said something probably negative about your family? Was there ever any experience like that?
Many times.
How did you react to such situations?
My siblings are experiencing it now. They said, my sister came to me and they said, one of my friends said, who is fella? Doesn't even matter, bada. He smokes this. And it just took me back, you know, because the way I dealt with it was, I was very quiet by the time I got to secondary school. So I just didn't answer anybody. It was like a task that I just had to complete to get on to my next phase of life. So that's why I tried to tell them to do it. I said, Shebi, you know your daddy. Is your daddy anything that they're saying? Look at him. Look at what he's done for us. Look at Auntie YK. You've been at the Shrine. You know it's nothing that they claim it is. You have to, so they have to learn, like I learned. You have to shoulder. You have to take it with strength. You can't allow yourself to be fazed by words. It's the thing about reputation as well. I don't care that much about reputation. It doesn't matter how good you are. All it takes is one person to concoct one lie that can make you into... And the worst thing is how... Because, you know, you read the papers, and I know my dad, right? And you just see this blatant lie in the paper, and how many people are willing to believe it? No fact-checking, nothing. So what I've learned, and what I've learned to accept, is to live my life in a very, very clear way. with very clear morals, very clear values, and that if at any point it is falsely challenged, I just go with the flow. So I've learned to accept bad and good reputation. But I think when you remain uncompromising in your integrity, eventually it all blows away. So look at Femi Kuti today. I remember when I was younger, they said he was mad. No, I read it. No, it wasn't. It's not funny. Really. There was a paper that said he was running naked on the streets. Can you imagine seeing that as a child? Your dad in front of you. The people believed that he was naked running on the streets. And then, rumor after rumor. Then your friends ask you, is this thing true? And you'll say, no, it's not true. So eventually, the whole thing, you become used to it. And that's the thing I'm trying to say about reputation. I don't feel the need to constantly make it good. I think you should be uncompromising in the way that you live your life. If anything tries to block that, you let it, and then you just keep going.
Okay. Earlier I asked you who is Made Kuti, and you wrote out like your family names and everything. Now this question is, how would you describe yourself?
I'm very bad at that. I would say I think of myself as an intellectual, someone who is capable, who is flexible enough to accept when he's wrong, who is flexible enough to adapt to changes in any situation, flexible enough to grow and to learn every day. I try to learn every day. So I'll consider myself an intellectual that is growing.
You were born pretty much around the same time Fela died. I think you were born probably months.
Maybe 2 years.
Okay, years.
97, 95.
So your memories of him probably I don't know if you had any memory of him at that time. So but what has been like the most important thing that has been passed on about his legacy onto you?
The most important thing is his integrity, definitely. He was a man of strong conviction. And I think in this world with so many temptations to take you out of the path of righteousness. Yeah. So yeah, it was his integrity. And even when he did things that were considered, out of normal or, I don't say wayward, but that idea of things, he did it believing that it was what he wanted to do. So I like that confidence in him.
If Made was not doing music today, what would you be doing?
Honestly, maybe physics. I like astronomy.
You've been touring the world, like, I know you started playing the instrument like when you were 5, been touring since like 8. Wow, that's been like, how's that been like for you? It hasn't been coping, flying across the world from that tender age?
That question is very hard to answer because I don't know any life except Kuti life, So when I was 8, I played 2 venues that musicians dream of playing. I played the Hollywood Bowl and I played Glastonbury. At the time, I didn't appreciate it at all.
You had no idea.
That was just another show, man. Then I remember I was about 19 and I was going through YouTube and I was watching one of my dad's shows on Glastonbury. Who did I see?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, what? Posty, I played Glastonbury. So I didn't appreciate it at the time, and it's only now as an adult and a working musician that I can look back and see that because of my father, I have had so much experience. You can't buy the experience. You can't learn that in school. So I had life experience. Very valuable.
So fair to say you've been actively playing music for 14 years, give or take?
Yeah, I'll say from about 5.
From about 5, yeah.
Yeah.
So thereabout.
About 16.
We're in this age of self-awareness, self-actualization and everything. Do you think one day you'll get to a point where you're like, okay, I've done this for 15, 16 years, I'm tired, I want to do something else? Like, you've been doing the same thing, touring the world, performing since that stage?
Music is vast. There is, because I studied composition at Trinity Lab, and I didn't actually do any instruments. So I studied how to write for ensembles, orchestral music. So even if at any point I tire out of touring, because touring is difficult, there's always film music to go into. There's always adverts, there's always experimental stuff. I can start an orchestra. There's too much to do in music to be tired of it, I think. If all the musicians before me did not get tired, I can't imagine when I'll get tired.
Okay, let's bring it down a bit. Why do you think it took so long for you to become an official member of your father's band? It had to take someone running away practically for you to fill in that position.
That was never part of the plan. Like, I was never supposed to actually play for him. What happened was, as soon as I went to Trinity, I was supposed to immediately start my career, put a band together, and start writing an album.
Was that your decision?
That was my decision, yeah. But it was my decision knowing that he knew what I planned for as well. So I wasn't even a bass player. I just happened to be learning the bass on the side, and he happened to hear me play bass on the side. So then the first time the bassist ran away, I was still in Trinity. He says, "Madi, can you learn 50-something songs in 1 week for us to play it in the shrine? We're about to go on a 1-week European tour." I said, "Yeah," with doubts. But you can't, guys, the rule in music is you never let anyone know your weaknesses. So you can always do it. Yes is always the answer, anyway. So I said, yeah, I can learn 50-something songs in 1 week. I did it. So we played on Thursday and Sunday, normally on the shrine. Went on the tour for 1 week, came back. Everything went smoothly. That was supposed to be the last time I played with him. I went back to Trinity. Then I graduated. Another bassist ran away. Came back. Golden opportunity, you know, because I haven't put everything together yet. I'm just settling in. And what am I about to do? I'm about to go on a 4-week European tour with Femi Kuti and the Positive Force in Spain, France, Germany, Switzerland. You don't say no, man. That is life experience. So it wasn't part of the plan, but if that bassist didn't run away, I don't know where my place would be in the band. So it's funny how things work out, you know. I'll probably have just played sax solos, but I wouldn't have gone on tour because they don't need me.
But you mentioned that the whole idea was for you to set up your own band.
Yeah.
So now, is it a case of your place in your father's band, you feel it's ways bigger than that? Or that is still something that might unravel in the future?
We are constantly working on it. So the album, I finished writing it. We're on to the business phase of it. And Popsy is helping me every step of the way, you know. So I'm talking to people. Some people are interested. It's going well. So actually by next year, the album should be out. And I think I can do both. I think I can play my music in my band and play his as well. I think it's possible. Because if I'm the owner of the band, then I can dictate how often we rehearse and how often we play and everything.
Okay. So you have a separate band aside Positive Force?
That would be the plan.
That would be the plan?
That would be the plan.
So you don't have the band assembled already?
The music is not even fully produced yet. I can't plan that far. But yeah, I finished writing it. When it's recorded, if it does well, then I'll put things together. Okay.
You mentioned earlier that you were not much of a bassist until that happened. What was your own specialty, your own type of music?
Oof. Under my dad, I learned saxophone. That's what I play. I think that's what my identity as a musician is. But when I went to London for those 7 years, the first 3 years, I focused on classical piano. I didn't even pick up the sax for about 2 years. So within that, I passed the grades in piano and I did the ATCL diploma, which made me quite confident that a part of my career would be me being a classical pianist, not knowing that
something
else would come up. And then, what was it? And then for some reason, I found this love for the trumpet again. So I just started practicing all of a sudden. Then the bass, piano, sax, and then the drums. And I started playing the drums as well. So yeah, I would define myself not as a saxophonist or a composer, but as a multi-instrumentalist composer.
So we're gonna put it together. Like, how many instruments do you actually play?
Bass, sax, trumpet, piano, and then drums. 5.
Interesting. I've watched you perform on occasions. I saw you when the album launch at Sheraton last year.
Yeah,
Then I saw you at a concert earlier this year also. And one thing struck me, you played the sax non-stop for like, I think 3 minutes or so.
Yeah. Circular breathing, yeah.
Daddy walked to the front and everything, and you were just playing. How long can you play without like taking a break?
You mean holding one note or just playing?
Yeah, just playing, like you didn't stop at all, you just kept on.
Popsy's record is, I think it's 51 minutes.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to say it. I'm working towards it. It's long, but it's not even half of that. The stamina, man. Oh, God. I remember when I came back and I tried to do 5 minutes, it took me, you don't realize it because he makes it look so easy. And he's 57.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm 23.
Yeah.
And then the shame. I play ball, man. Where is the stamina coming from? Yeah, I don't know. I can probably, no, I'm not going to tell you. When I aim at the record, we'll find out.
How is it like playing with your dad? How was it like every time you guys step on stage together and you guys?
That is something that I know that there's nothing I can ever, the only other thing I can experience that will be similar is if I play and my daughter or my son is playing next to me. You can't describe it. Because music makes you transcend something. You're always thinking, you focus on sound and you focus on expression. And there's all these mechanics that you have to put into place. Your fingering has to be correct and all this. And to feel that there's someone next to you that is doing it with the same amount of vigor and the same amount of passion that is so connected to you. It's personal, man. It's very special. And I'm just glad I got the chance to experience it. And I hope not to put pressure on my son or my daughter that they give me the chance to experience that as well.
When on stage, do you see your dad as your dad, or do you see him as, oh, that's the boss?
Always dad and boss at the same time. It's constant. It doesn't change. But what happened recently? He said something, and I tried to defend myself on stage. And he said, "Better go back, I'll sack you." So yeah, it's fun, man. It's
do you have fun. Like one performance that strikes the most for you every time you look back? You and your father, you and dad on stage.
One performance? No, there's no one particular one. But if the ones that feel the most special are the ones at the shrine. Those ones feel, because you know I grew up there and I've always been either backstage or looking at the show. So to be standing there and to be playing with as much energy as I can, that stage in particular is sacred to me.
I was about to ask about the shrine, because I know the crowd at the shrine is different from the crowd when you go on tour.
Very different.
How do you balance that?
You adapt, because I've done in school I've done a few concerts on the piano, so I've also adapted to an audience that is sitting still, doing absolutely nothing until you finish playing. So I've had both extremes, so it's nice. You adapt. But then on tour, because they know they're watching Femi Kuti, don't underestimate Western people. They're ready to groove. They're ready to groove. But the vibe is different. But it's not different bad, it's just different.
How do you mention, I had you mention in one other interview about being placed on a pay grade based on how long you stay in the band.
Yeah.
So you've been officially in the band for less than 2 years. So that means you're collecting.
Less than 1 year.
That means you're collecting.
I'm at the bottom of the payroll.
So there's no
even one
family
person.
partiality involved in that.
You would expect that, Avi.
Yes.
No, there isn't. There isn't any family partiality, man. But on the other hand, because that's the type of person he is, he's too honest to just because if he did it, nobody can challenge him. Right? That's the fact that he put me there is his decision, totally his decision, and it didn't even make me feel. First, I'm a musician that just started his career, and I'm touring the country. That should be more than enough. So to be paid on top of that, I am just happy. I'm just happy, Daddy. I'm not complaining at all. So I feel very privileged, man. And it's a good salary, so it's all right.
Okay. Most times when I see you on stage or when I see Femi Kuti on stage, what I'm thinking is, do you guys have the time to do something else? Because I know for you to perform 3 hours on stage, you've probably rehearsed 10 hours behind stage. Oh. Is there ever a time where you're not thinking music and you're doing something totally different?
Every day I try to practice the trumpet, sax, piano, and the bass. Drums.
You're practicing since you were 5.
Yeah. And then, now that my siblings are growing up, I'm giving them piano lessons. And they come to me for sax and trumpet advice as well. So most of my day is music. But at the end of every day, or even within it, you know, you play with your siblings, you do different things. Once in a while I put a show on. I watched Peaky Blinders recently. I'm very proud of that. And we play, my dad and I play FIFA every night. Every night. After dinner, we play FIFA for like 1 hour straight. And then we just say goodnight. So I think that's our de-stressing activity. So yeah, it's mostly music, but once in a while.
What has been the influence you took from your mom?
My mom?
You both have this bond.
Yeah. There's a lot though. My mom has made me very fashion conscious. I'm still very unfashionable. I'm still very bad at fashion, but she's made me, you know, aware of the way I look. And she has, you know, the traits that a mother would have, you know, support, love, kindness, always there whenever you need to be, you know, in a discussion about anything relating to any of the challenges you're facing. So, yeah, it's a special bond, man.
Back to Nigeria. Obviously, the country is not the way we would have wanted it to be. What do you think needs to change?
It's never been the way we wanted it to be.
What do you think needs to change? Because we can't keep repeating the same message Fela sang 30 years ago.
I think
we can't keep singing it.
I think we have to, first, who is a Nigerian? What does Nigeria even mean? We're people that have such strong, we have a lot of, we put a lot of importance to names and meanings. My name is Omori Made, the child walks to get his crown. And Ikulapo, death is in my pocket. So, and the same in every other culture in the country. So if we put so much value in identity, what does Nigeria mean? Now, Niger area, it could be nigger area. Because I can imagine the guy, Lugard, we can name them Niger area. Yeah, but it also sounds like nigger area with his wife. I hate it. I hate the name, I can't lie. I hate it because, and what I just realized was, it's always been in my mind that, you know, it was amalgamated in 1914, the Southern and the Northern Protectorate, but that was also the start of the First World War. So these people were killing themselves
when they
named us, and how can we even bear? And then now we're taught to be proud Nigerians, but we don't even know what the Nigerian is. The Nigerian outside of this country has a bad reputation. The amount of people that discuss things with me about Yahoo, as if every Nigerian is somehow involved in internet scams. And then there's corruption. You know your country is very corrupt. Yeah, I know my country is very corrupt. The issue is, you see all these Nigerians outside of the country, highly skilled, highly educated. They are at the top of their field, but they're outside the country. And the identity of the Nigerian, I guess they act as ambassadors in a way, because of what they do that is good, they change the perspective of the people in the country. The problem is, there's too many of them outside of the country. And if we don't feel that need to sacrifice, coming to Nigeria from having a stable job in London or America is a sacrifice. You know it's be detrimental to you, to your family. Why would you choose to come back to no light? Difficulty to find water, bad transportation. The traffic in this country can drive someone insane. Why would you choose that? The only reason why you would pick Nigeria is if you are socially conscious and you say, yes, I have this skill, I'm going to come back and I'm going to contribute to my community. There's nothing else that can bring you to Nigeria. So my problem is I don't think there are enough people that are doing that. We train outside, but then we stay outside. And I was watching, funny, before my last interview I was watching a speech by Malcolm X. This time again, he says to the Americans that they are African, they're not American. That they are Africans who were taken forcefully from their homes and then made to live in America. But now the American doesn't have that. The American says, I'm American. I'm not Black American. I'm not African American. I'm American. That's my identity. And me, I'm in Africa, and I'm like, but dude, I thought you were one of us. So I think the problem is they've seen Africa as a place that is clearly not matching the standards of the Western world. Technologically, economically, politically, we are way below standard. So why would they want to associate themselves with us when, even though they face so much brutality in their own country, being shot for being Black, getting, insulted, being called names, being slandered at work, why would you face that and still want to call yourself an American? Because the state of things in Africa are so bad, you'd rather be a degraded American than a suffering African. So I think the Black dilemma is very serious, and I don't think we talk about it enough. I think what we need to do is up the standard of Africa, starting from a hugely populated country like Nigeria. And if we do that, I think you'll be surprised by how many people come back. I think there'll be like a mass migration of the diaspora back to Africa if we start to show that unity and that conscious thinking.
Should we expect much of these conscious thoughts in your album or in your music?
Expect nothing but that. I'm very passionate about these things. I feel, and I think the reason I am is because the people I learned from the most were pioneers in this field. So when I remember I used to have an inferiority complex because of my skin. Because girls would be like, I want like light-skinned guys. Even my ex really liked light-skinned guys. I should be telling me that she likes light-skinned guys. But I realized that I know my preference, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to make any other person feel. But I'm clear on my preference. So I thought, I like this. So why do I feel like I should feel shame about my skin? And then I watched that speech again by Malcolm X where he goes, who taught you to hate your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin? And then, the brown paper bag test, that if you had to go into acting jobs, they test your skin. So it's clearly a nurtured thinking that the African as himself is not beautiful. They've taught us to not like our skin, to have a problem with our hair, to have a problem with our facial features. So, but is this due to their teaching or partly also due to our ignorance? I don't know, man. But what I know is that I'm very proudly Black now. But it took effort to be. It took effort to always challenge the thinking that there's nothing wrong with this woman's hair. Her hair is beautiful. When she puts it in locks, it's beautiful. When she lets it as an afro, it's beautiful. There's no need for all that other stuff, man. I don't even like makeup.
You mentioned the album. How soon are we getting the album?
hopefully 2020.
2020.
Mid-early 2020, hopefully.
Okay. The final one now, what's your message to Nigerian youths ahead of the elections and Nigeria as a whole?
Nigeria as a whole.
Because we've mentioned people traveling and everything. Just last week, Saturday, when the elections was postponed, the #1 trending topic in the whole of Nigeria was Canada. Everyone wanted to run out to Canada. So basically, in the build-up to the elections, there are a lot of people losing hope. There are a lot of people who, okay, I'm done. What is your message to the Nigerian youths?
Yeah, exactly. My message is specifically to the Nigerian youths. We have been failed. The generation before us failed us. They did their best, but because of their compliance, because of their inactivity, we are where we are today. And if we repeat the mistakes of those that came before us, our actions will affect the generation coming after us. If we repeat that cycle, then that generation will repeat and repeat and repeat, and it will never end. It will be constant. At some point, we have to say, we have to think collectively. If we don't think as a people, if we don't think as a very closely connected group, a closely connected generation, if we don't bounce ideas off each other, if we don't move together, if we don't talk, then there's nothing for us. The power in this country is too strong for any one person to face alone. It's too strong for even 1,000 people to face alone. If the entire generation does not start thinking collectively, consciously, and progressively, we'll still be here in the next 50, 100 years, unfortunately.
And that brings an end to this very exciting interview with the one and the only Made Kuti.